Welcome back, everyone. If you're looking to book more discovery calls and clients, then you're in the right place. Now, if you're familiar with my YouTube channel at all, then you probably already know that we mainly discuss marketing. In other words, influencing people to do things that they maybe wouldn't have done otherwise. Now, I always love to compare the human brain to a computer for the reasons that it's very smart, but it's very hackable and trickable and accessible, let's say. Now, whether you're selling whatever they were selling 100 years ago, or you're selling a course or coaching or whatever it might be today, actually the exact same mechanisms exist in the human brain to get people to take action and buy things. So we are actually going to go pretty quick today, but let's go ahead and jump right in to the human needs that you can target to get people to take any action you want. So the first human need that we're going to discuss today is acceptance. And keep in mind, I already mentioned earlier that we're just going to fly through these for today. Now, the need for acceptance pretty much means that we all desire to belong to pretty much to a group. Now, this can be interpreted to mean that we don't want to stand out. So the point is that if you can make people feel accepted for who they are, then you can pretty much point them in any direction. The next human need is similar but a little bit different, which is the need for belonging and inclusion. Now, this means that people will go to pretty significant lengths actually to make sure that they belong to a specific tribe or group and to make sure that they are included in it. The next human need is the need to be right or correct. Now, I know some of you might say, oh, but I have an open mind. I'm open to changing my mind and stuff like that, which is fine. And to be fair, if you want to learn more about that, then definitely check out the book Think Again by Adam Grant. But the point is that for better or worse, people have an inherent need or desire to be right.
Why are you calling me? I'm right.
Now, you can also check out the book Mindset or a few other ones, but the point is that most people feel personally attached to their answers. So if I tell you car A will win the race, and if this other person says car B will win the race, then we will probably become over attached to our answers, which gives you the chance to take advantage of that bias. The next human need is to be understood. Now, I've mentioned this before about targeting your specific audience or prospect, but the point is that if I look at you and if I say, is your name John Smith? Are you having issues training your dog or fixing your BMW? The point is that if I zero in on the exact type of person you are, then you will feel understood and will just generally connect more with my brand and message. The next human need is the need to love and be loved.
You love me. You really love me.
So I know this can kind of be split into two different categories, but the point is that whatever your lifestyle may be like, most people feel the need to love something, someone, an idea. The point is to be personally attached to somebody else's well-being. Similarly, we also all feel the need or desire to be loved. Now, I know this isn't groundbreaking news that most human beings or just living creatures at all want to be loved, but the point is that these are opportunities that you can take advantage of, let's say, to move people down your author path and funnel. The next human need is to be appreciated and valued. Now, this actually might be the most important human desire out of anyone anywhere. Now, the point is that no matter how rich you are or powerful you are or connected you are or whatever it might be, is that a lot of the people that feel the most connected, the most appreciated, and things like that are actually some of the happiest people in the world. The next human need is that of being needed. Now, I know a lot of people will deny this and say, no, I don't have that need. That seems too superficial or too just extra or something like that. But remember that when it comes to a lot of these human needs, we can't help it and we can't control it. It's part of our natural human brains. So the point is that people feel extremely strong about the desire to feel needed. Now, whether you think that's good or bad is up to you, but the point is this is an option available to you. Our next human need is similar, which is the need or desire to be liked.
Do you like me?
Yeah, of course I like you.
Now, I know that some people will say that this is an evolutionary trait that we learned because generally it's just better or people are more obedient if they like us. But the point is that whether we like it or not, it is a very common desire or even human need to want to be liked. Our next human need is that to be admired and or respected. Now, I know we already talked about being liked, but being admired or respected is a little bit different. Now, I know that some people might take this too far and go the violence route or some other type of extreme route.
It is far better to be feared than loved.
The point is that, like it or not, again, is that the human brain or mind or body or whatever it might be naturally wants to be respected and admired. The next human need on our list is human contact. Now, I know if you're an online coach or consultant or freelancer or whatever it might be, then it's probably not practical for you to get in physical contact with whoever your prospect or client might be. But if that is an option, just keep that in mind that people actually really like that type of connection. In other words, physical contact. Our next core human desire is that of romance or passion.
It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
Now, this is another one of those factors that some people might consider extra or unnecessary, but this can actually play a huge role in getting people to listen to your message. Now, remember that most people's lives are relatively monotonous. Whether you're a spy or some type of government worker, or you work at Google, or you're a freelancer or whatever, in most cases, people's lives tend to be relatively the same day to day. Now, for better or worse, memories or experiences that are related to romance or passion just so happen to be extra memorable and just enjoyable to engage with. Our next core human desire is agency. In other words, to be in control of our lives. Now, I've mentioned before that personal agency or feeling like we have free will actually plays a pretty big role in the average person's happiness and just overall general life satisfaction. So if you can, give your prospects or audience some agency or ability to make a choice. Our next core human desire, which is similar but different, is the need for independence. So this is kind of like agency on steroids, which we just mentioned, which pretty much means that you can literally do what you want.
I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
Now, I know a lot of people would say, oh, my government's controlling me, my boss, my business, my whatever it might be. But in all reality, a lot of people, at least especially in first world countries, however you want to define that, do have pretty high levels of agency in which directions they want their life to go. The next core human desire is attention. This is probably another one of those evolutionary tactics that we kind of can't control, because whether you like it or not, if you were famous or well-known, or you were able to attract attention 100,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago or whenever it might be, then it makes sense that you would probably be able to pass on your genes, pick your partners, and just generally accomplish whatever goals you might have. Our next core human desire is balance. Now, I've mentioned before that balance is almost impossible to reach, but the point here is that we like to think, or at least we like to have, a little bit of counterweight depending to whatever we're doing. So if we work a ton, we would like to have a period of time where we don't work a ton. If we are with family a lot, we would like to have a little counterbalance. Our next core human desire is that for safety and security. Now, I know you can go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and stuff like that, although that has been disproved a little bit. But the point is that it makes sense that we want to make sure that we are safe, not only in the present, but in the future as well. The next core human desire is peace or peacefulness. Now, I know that war or fighting or aggression might seem like it's a part of human history or human nature, but it's actually also part of human nature to want peace and, in other words, not war. Our next core human desire is another one of those biggies, which is predictability. Now, actually, this is another one of those topics that I can talk about for hours, or that I'll probably make a whole nother video about. But the point is that the human brain naturally looks for causality or for just some type of reason why anything happened. In other words, predictability. I always bring up that study where people were shown TV static, and then naturally all of these people came up with patterns. So whether people are watching TV static or radio static or clouds or literally anything that's absolutely random, the point is that the human mind will naturally, maybe even inevitably, make patterns out of chaos and randomness. In other words, as I believe it was Nassim Taleb who said that the tragedy of man is that we look for causality when we live in a chaotic world. The next human need is that for consistency. In other words, whether it's the place you live, the people you know, the job you have, or whatever it might be, we generally like for things to stay the same regardless of how much variety you think you like in your life. Our next human need is that for comfort. Now, I know that we're going down a little bit down the line here, but this is just as important or as desired as any other human need. So the point is that once we have satisfied a lot of our higher level needs, whether that be food or shelter and things like that, then comfort actually comes to rank pretty high. Our next human need is that for support. Now, we've already discussed similar ideas such as being liked, but this is a little bit different, which is people who are actually, or people who do actually believe in our ideas and the things that we want to do. Now, the tricky thing here is that whether our idea is good or bad, or whether we are right or wrong, we still desire that support from whoever it might be. Our next core human desire is that for variety and new challenges. Now, to be fair, this probably affects me more than it affects other people that I know, but the point is that novelty, in other words, new experiences, new things, just generally new experiences, can actually play a huge role in what we desire and what we enjoy. Our next core human desire is that for fun.
I like to have fun,
Just flat out basic fun. Now, I know we already mentioned passion and romance and a few other things like that, and variety that seem a little bit similar, but fun means things that are unnecessary, things that don't feel like work, that are just flat out enjoyable. Our next core human desire is that for recognition.
I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
Now, I know we've already talked about getting attention and being liked and respected, but this is a little bit different. Recognition ultimately comes down to people actually noticing and acknowledging your work and whatever it is that you're doing. So whether you're working hard to train your dog or to double your sales or whatever it might be, we find tons of value in literally anybody else, at the very least, recognizing it, let alone respecting us or anything else like that. But the point is that we at least want people to notice and recognize our efforts. Our next core human desire is that for certainty and order. Now, I've already talked about predictability and things like that, but as far as certainty and order it goes, the human mind, or however you want to define it, really wants to assume that the world has certainty and order and justice and things like that. Now, in my opinion, this is why things such as religions exist, but the point is that our human brains naturally want to assume that, or just want to think that there is some certainty in the world, or some order, or some justice, or it is kind of similar to the predictability that we mentioned earlier. And maybe the absolute most important human need is to hit the like button and subscribe below. If you learned something interesting today, it does help a lot. For more help finding your niche, creating your signature program, or getting clients, then book a free call with me below to find the biggest opportunities in your business. Well, that wraps us up for today. Thanks everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.